No, we'll come to the
We don't like kitties.
All right. So we've been learning about genealogy.
Oh.
And so
Genealogy.
for family history, we've been teaching them, huh, Cam? Instead of trying to search computers and names and stuff, we thought it would be better just to have them learn about their grandparents and little get to know some of the stuff that we don't know about you. So we're just going to let them ask you questions, and you tell us about what it was like, growing up. And
Did you like it?
so what questions do you have for Grandma and Gramps? Why don't you ask them how old they are first and when their birthdays were?
I'm 6.
I'm 5.
First, they want to know how old we are?
Yeah.
Okay. He's 83 and I'm 80.
What was your birth dates?
Mine
Remember?
is July 18th, 1930.
5/24/27.
Well, they would like it better and they'll understand it better if you say May 24th, 1927.
But I don't understand that.
Okay.
What else did you
What
have?
questions do you have?
I don't know. What's
Oh, come on.
What were some of the things you thought of in the car?
Hurry,
that you
say
want?
what you thought.
Where were we born? We were born in Ogden.
Both of you were born in Ogden?
Yeah.
We weren't born in hospitals, we were born in our houses
Really?
where we lived.
I didn't know that.
Both houses are still there, aren't they?
Yeah, both houses are still there.
Which house?
Just in Ogden
On Harrison.
on Harrison, right?
Maryland Drive.
Really?
Hers.
Is that where you got your name from?
For my name, you mean?
Yeah, did they take your
Maryland
name from
Drive.
Maryland Drive?
I think it was Maryland Drive before they got my name. I don't know.
No, I'm saying did your parents
Are you
pick
named
that
after
name?
that?
Oh, no.
You're not?
I don't think so.
No.
Because my twin sister was named Jacqueline and Marilyn, so
Isn't that?
they had to rhyme.
Sorry, that
Gotcha.
tree.
So
He-
it wasn't the house
his
that
name's
Grandma
Matt.
added, the little white house. That's not where you were born, was it?
Yeah, that's where I
Oh,
was
really?
born.
So you grew up there your whole life then, really, until you got
White
married?
house. It's not white.
Edda's house is white.
That was red brick. Bottom half.
No, it's
Oh, well.
white. It's all they remember
Well,
it white.
yeah. Huh. And what about you, Gramps?
Oh, there wasn't a street there. It was about 32nd and Tyler.
And the house is still there?
Yeah, it is.
Wild. So no,
Kind of hard to see. It's kind of back of the trees and stuff, but it's still there.
that's crazy. So you just had the doctors come to the house then when
Yep.
delivered right there, huh?
Yep.
So how many brothers and sisters did you have?
18.
Ask Grandma how many brothers and sisters you
How many brothers and sisters?
I had a twin sister and another sister and a brother, Claude.
So were you the oldest, the youngest?
And the oldest was Claude, and then there was Joyce, and then there was Jackie, my twin, and then I was the last one.
Did you know Grandma had a twin sister?
You had a twin, like Maddie and Mo.
Very
No,
much.
I didn't know.
Okay, now ask Grandpa
Okay.
how many.
How many brothers and sisters do you have, Grandpa? 0?
Just
That's
all-
me.
An only child?
Did you like being an only child?
Sure.
No.
I get my own way.
Did they have troubles having kids, or was it just do you know? Did they ever tell you? Or?
Mother didn't like it much.
Yeah.
Too painful, so I think that's when she decided not
Well,
to.
I think too, the economy and everything,
Yeah.
they really had a rough life, just eking out a living.
My doctor's name is Burns. That's who I'm named after. They did that
Alright.
payment.
Really? They named you after to pay for the.
Yeah, she took the instead of paying the money because they didn't have it, they just named his middle name Burns after the doctor, and that's all she wanted.
Wow.
I didn't know your middle name was even Burns. I just thought it was really a B. Because don't you put it as, doesn't it say B?
Yeah.
Yeah, he just
Mine
said
Mine's
that.
going to be Times.
And a lot of the family figured it shouldn't be Burns, it should be Byrne, because Byrne is distant relative.
Yeah.
They figured I spelled it wrong.
Oh.
Fact is, it's Burns.
Oh.
That's what I always assumed.
It's named after the
Bernie,
doctor.
Ernie, you rescue. That.
So
Cameron, be
what?
quiet.
Cam, what other questions? What was your first jobs when you were kids?
Like when they're
Milk
teenagers.
cows.
Milking cows.
Milking cows.
Yeah.
I don't know.
How old were you when you started milking cows?
6.
6.
And
Uh-oh.
what would you have to do? Did you have to get up early in the morning, even at 6?
Well, I didn't really do that very often. When Dad was busy doing something else, I had milk.
How long did you have the dairy farm going for?
How long what?
How long was it the dairy farm really active for?
Well, that one was until we moved out here. And probably, I don't know, 49, 51, something like that. Then he had a bigger one here.
He sometimes walked to Ogden High School when he was in high school, from here to Ogden High School, because he couldn't
Actually, I
get,
walked home. I
He
didn't
did?
walk to there.
he'd walk home
Ogden High School.
from here to Ogden High School to get to school in the morning.
Really?
And I'd get home at 9.
Get home.
Kitty, kitty.
I was gonna say that was.
So you just go up,
Long
was there
walk.
just a trail up the hill here and then you just,
I didn't go this way. I went the other way.
oh,
She's
home.
got you mixed up.
Oh,
Or
okay.
would you just come down the hill and walk
Yeah.
down or,
Well, I usually hitchhiked
yeah,
and come down the hill, yeah.
that was a little safer then than it is
Yeah.
now.
But getting to school, they had a school bus out here that went to Weber High. And so they got me a ride on it, so I just catch the school bus for the Weber High kid and they dumped me out on 36th and Harrison. I had a bicycle there and I'd ride the bicycle from 36th and Harrison down to Ogden High.
Uh-huh.
Were you the only one that went to Ogden? You were the only kid here in high school, or what? Really?
Yep.
Really?
Wasn't really legal.
Jeannie wanted him to go to
What
Ogden.
wasn't really legal?
Where were you supposed to
a
go?
high school where you weren't supposed to be.
He was
Oh,
supposed
where
to go
were
to
you?
Weber High
You
School.
were supposed to go to Weber?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where the taxes went to go to Weber.
Yeah.
So Ogden didn't get any taxes for me.
Oh. That's all right.
Jeannie wanted him to go to Ogden High School, so that
That's
she
where he
arranged
went.
for him to go there.
So, what other questions do you guys have?
What
Where
was the
did
one?
you get married?
Where did you get married?
Get married in Hawaii.
We got married in Hawaiian
Oh.
Temple in
Oh,
1952.
1952, what day?
Simba.
October 17th.
Yeah,
I didn't think of that one.
October 17th in Hawaii. That'd be a pretty cool place, huh? Well,
Where did you guys meet?
We met at a mutual dance, what they call it, young women's, what do they call
Yeah,
it now?
it's young women's,
Women's
yeah.
and young men's, what they called it mutual when we were going to church, and so we met at a mutual dance.
Hey, kitty, kitty.
How old were you?
Oh,
You met
probably
Simba.
17,
Another kitty.
something like that, 17, 18.
Cool.
Where was the church?
Asked
20
Jackson. Jackson and,
27th?
no, it was down at Jackson and 27th.
Same place.
The 12th ward. We met at the 12th ward.
Yeah.
So what made you, Gramps, start liking airplanes?
I don't know, I always liked airplanes. When we first moved out here, they were just starting Hillfield. And the first B-17s came in, and we just watched them out there and watched them. Fell in love with them.
So how old were you when you got your pilot's license? Weren't you really pretty young?
I was probably 16, 17, I don't know,
Wow.
one
So-
license.
So would you just go and, was there just an instructor around that you'd go,
Well, I actually started in the Navy.
oh, that's right.
They did it for a while, and then the war ended, and they said, hey, you want to sign up for another 5 years, or do you want us to finish school? I said, well, I don't think I want to sign up for another 5 years, so they said, okay, you're out of here. So they sent me back to the East Coast, Patuxent River, Maryland, Naval Air Test Center.
And that's where you had all your training done.
And, mechanical training, yes. That was a good place and a good job. We enjoyed it there.
How many places have you lived then?
In Hawaii?
No, everywhere. Like, what's some of the places you've lived? I know you've lived in a few states and places. You've lived in Maryland, obviously. Hawaii. Where else?
Hawaii,
Colorado.
Wisconsin?
Wisconsin, and
Detroit?
Minnesota,
Michigan?
Michigan, Bountiful, Utah, Denver. We were in Denver for the longest. For 10 years we lived in
And,
Denver.
well, you missed one there.
Where else did we?
This, I don't know, it's right up this way.
Oh, Billings,
Yeah,
Montana.
Montana.
All
Yeah,
right.
Billings, Montana. We lived there.
Wow. Was it all just because of your work flying that took you all
Yeah.
to those places? Wow.
So when you guys met, was it love at first sight?
Love at first sight. No, he liked someone else. I liked him, but it wasn't love at first sight. I just thought he was really cute. But no,
But
it
he had a
took us-
girlfriend?
No,
No,
Just liked someone, is that you said?
yeah,
no, I was kind of drawn to her sister.
yeah.
And so we chatted for a minute or so. And I said, "Do you like riding motorcycles?" She said, "Oh no, I hate motorcycles." I was there on a motorcycle, so that ended that.
Saved the day for me.
Yeah.
So I said, "Jared, do you like motorcycles?" "Oh yeah, I love motorcycles. I ride them all the time."
Oh,
She'd never been on it before.
That sounds like you.
So how long did you date for before you got married?
well, we dated for a few months and then we broke up. And then he started dating my best friend, and that bugged me. And then we got together again.
Wow.
His friend went out of state somewhere. Where'd she go? Montana or something.
Jean,
So,
yeah.
so then I started dating her again.
That's pretty neat.
So what else can you tell us?
Where did you get
What were
your
your-
first
what were
kiss?
what were your parents like? What was your family like? Life like growing up and stuff like that.
Workers.
Workers?
Hard workers, all of them.
Yeah, my life was a lot easier than Grandpa's. I lived in the city, and my dad had he had a good business.
Foundry.
He had a foundry, was prominent in Ogden, and I had an easy life. I was a spoiled brat, really.
Yeah, I noticed that now.
And then, and Bert had it a lot harder. He had to really work hard. I didn't really have to work hard. But my mother and dad were great people. Well, both of us had great parents. My mother, in fact, my mother, when we'd go out with our friends at night and we didn't have anything to do, they'd always want to go and talk to Etta. So that's my mother. So we'd always head back for my house and sit and chat with Etta, and she'd just make us laugh. And they just,
Even Reed Bybee would go over and talk to them.
yeah, even the guys would go. They want to go and talk to Etta because she was so fun and so funny. And so we both had good parents. I had a good dad and mother. Their children were always the most important thing in their lives. And so we were blessed that way. They had good marriages, and that was good examples for both of us.
What other questions you have for him, Karen?
What was your maiden name?
What was my what?
What was your maiden name?
Summerall.
Oh yeah, that's
Summerall.
right. I couldn't think what it was. Okay.
Summerall Foundry and Stoker
Summerall. I
Manufacturing.
can say I knew it was.
Yeah, I remember seeing the
Yeah, there's a
The
couple
water
down
meter.
the barn now.
Water meter covers.
Yeah. But in the earlier days, he sold potbelly stoves and anything for the old stoves, and then he developed a stoker. It was called Old Faithful Stokers,
really.
and he sold those until the furnaces came in.
Yeah.
So
Where was his shop at, or his business?
the business was at on Jefferson, between 21st and second, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And they'd pour the grates and make all the things for the stoves and stuff, and during the war they couldn't get enough help, so I'd have to go down, and when they'd fire up the big cupola and pour the hot iron out, and then they'd pour it in these things that they'd made out of sand, I would have to stand there and skim the hot, as they poured it, skim the top off the iron, and I hated that job. I'd get burned
Yeah,
all
tell
the
me
time.
about it. What was your favorite
But
sport
it was
when you
interesting.
were little?
What?
What was your favorite sport when you were little?
Favorite sport?
Oh, I liked a lot of sports. Let's see, baseball really well,
I'm good.
and basketball. Kick the ball. We played different kinds of things when we were kids than you guys do now. It was just, we liked sports.
Well, then he didn't talk about his family.
Oh.
He didn't get to talk about his family.
What about you, Gramps? What did you like to do besides riding motorcycles? Fly airplanes?
That's about it. They kept me busy.
Well, when he wasn't doing that, he was home working on the farm,
Yeah.
so he didn't have much time to play.
What? How old were you when you moved here?
Were you about 13 or older?
I don't know.
It must have been when you were going to high school, was it, when you were going to high school?
I don't know how old I was. I was a teenager, probably.
Teenager. And you just mostly milked cows?
Hauled hay,
Hay?
cut corn. That was a big project. We raised corn to feed to the cows.
Oh, yeah.
Where was the corn patch at? Was it?
The whole area.
Oh, really?
And they had a whole corn chopper still down there. And chopped it in little pieces about that big around. And hauled down, dumped them in that cement area.
Hmm.
You've seen that, but you probably
Yeah.
know it was something else.
Yeah.
And then stay there, and I kind of, what would you say it? Soured,
Ferment
Yeah.
a little bit?
fermented, and then fed it to them all winter. They liked it once they got used to it.
They just thought that was better for them than hay, or was you
Yeah,
kind of supplement
it
with it, or?
had more nutrients in than regular hay. We raised hay also, raised hay up on the hill, at that area up there. In between the tracks.
Yeah.
And his dad, I mean, he didn't have much help later on after Bert left. He had to do most of the farming all by himself. That's one of the reasons we moved back from Denver. And he decided to commute between Denver and Salt Lake just so we could help his dad out, because he was starting to fail in health and
Oh,
everything.
wow.
So we moved back, and we were glad we moved back to raise our kids here rather than in Denver. It was much nicer for them to be on a farm, and they turned out pretty good because we brought them home.
Jackie's the oldest, right? Or is
Mhm.
Mark? Jackie?
And then Mark, and then Scott.
So Jackie was born in Denver, is that right?
Well, no, Jackie was born when we were living in
Wisconsin.
Minnesota,
Or
but
was
then
it-
I came
she
home
came
to
home.
have her.
Oh,
And then, in the meantime, they'd moved him to Michigan, so, no, yeah. Then he came back to Minnesota,
Wisconsin.
and then we moved to Wisconsin with Jackie, yeah. And then to Billings, and then Mark and Scott were born both in Utah, in Ogden.
oh, okay.
What was your favorite place to live? Out of all those states?
Hawaii, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, for sure.
yeah, that was nice.
That sounds
Wisconsin was nice too. We
Yeah,
lived
Wisconsin
between
was-
two little lakes.
Yeah?
Actually, a good sized lake. She's out every morning fishing.
Yeah, we could just,
What kind of fish would you catch?
little bluegills or something
Oh,
like
really?
that, I can't remember. We didn't like to eat them, so I'd take them over to one of our friends till he asked me not to bring him anymore.
David Stewart, he's related to the Stewarts up here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was going to school there to be a doctor.
Where did you go on your mission?
I don't know when I got it. It just popped up there. The beard came in the last couple of years.
What was I gonna say? Oh, tell me about your parents a little bit. I mean, like, you talked about Grandma Etta being really funny and fun to be around. What was Grandpa Fred like?
He's just a hard worker, real likable.
Yeah, they were both, they met when she was coming from England and he was coming home from a 3-year mission, and he met her on the boat.
Oh, really?
And they kind of fell in love on the boat, and then my mother went to Boston with her mother. That's where they were headed, and so my dad wondered how he was going to keep this long distance relationship. He was coming home from his mission, and so they said they'd still write to each other, and he told her a little bit about the church, and then when he got home, his brother Ray, he found out his brother Ray had been called on a mission to Boston.
All right.
So his brother Ray went to Boston and converted her, and then she came out here, and they got married. They got married twice. They got married June 10th, I think, civilly, and then President McKay, who was a good friend of my dad's, I went to the same ward. He'd just been made apostle, and usually you have to wait a while after you've been baptized and made a member of the church. But he fixed it so they could get married in a temple the same month that they got married civilly. So
All the same month, huh?
about 10 days apart. So they got married in the temple on the 17th of June. So that was kind of unusual.
See, I didn't even realize Grandma Etta was a convert.
Is that who you're talking about, or are you talking about his mom?
No, I'm talking about my mom and dad.
Yeah.
I don't know how Gene and Albert knew. He went on a mission, and Gene waited for him, didn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how they met initially.
I never did how. Well, I think through friends. I think your mother said, and she'd come out here to Uinta, and that's how she met Albert. And then Albert went on his mission, so she waited for him. And they got married when he came home.
Where did Grandpa Albert go on his mission?
England.
England?
But we had that farm over there on 32nd Street, and went to the next saying. We had a farm there, and that's where we worked until he came out here.
His grandfather owned all that land up where St. Benedict's Hospital is, from Harrison up to St. Benedict's. He owned a lot. He owned all that land. His grandfather did.
Wow.
So Grandma Jeannie, she was always dolled up. I remember that, with jewelry and everything, always dressed up. I remember that about her. What about Grandpa Albert? What was his personality like? And Grandma Jeannie's a little bit more.
He was always working.
He just worked.
Yeah.
He worked.
He worked on the farm, milked I don't know how many cows every night, and then had to deliver the milk. He was always working. He never had a vacation.
So he was the delivery guy too?
Yep, everything.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know how he did all he did. Never had a vacation.
No.
So, I mean, nowadays they have equipment and everything to do everything, but how did that process go? He milked the cow and then...
We took that little shed just west of the barn and cooled it. Then we brought it up here. There's a little building right here on the side of the house. And we poured it in there and it goes down, cooled again, down in the basement. And there it was bottled.
Oh.
Then you take it out the door down there and put it in the back of the truck and
Go deliver it.
deliver it.
So there was no really pasteurization process or
No.
anything like that. So you have to deliver it pretty fresh then, huh?
Yeah.
Huh. How did he get into dairy farming? Is that his dad
I
did?
don't know.
Or?
No, his dad was just a plain farmer.
Yeah.
Well, when we were living over there on 32nd Street, he kind of got into it then. People had a tough time buying milk. We had a few cows, I don't know, 4 or 5. So he'd milk them and put in bottles. We delivered it by horseback. I remember riding behind him and holding the bottles Well, we delivered milk.
Wow.
So how long have you been living in this house?
Since what year?
We came in 1967, and we've been living in this house since then, but Grandpa lived in a lot longer.
Oh,
Is this,
What other questions? Do you guys have anything else you wanted to ask him?
no.
Any words of wisdom or anything you want to tell him? Great truths of life or anything like that?
Let's see, well, just stay close to your family, and you do that, all of you do that. And wait till you get grandchildren, they're the neatest things that ever happened to you. You love your children, but when the grandchildren and great-grandchildren come, that's the best
My great-grandfather,
life you can ever
he
have.
lived this little house right there. That was
I'm gonna go look at that picture.
kind of between the tracks, or the upper track. There weren't tracks.
just right up here?
Yeah,
No kidding?
there weren't tracks then, so it's kind of hard to tell exactly.
Yeah, I was
where it
gonna say, it doesn't even look like.
But